Hey, I'm Thomas. Welcome to Pilot's Workshop. We have one small drawer in our kitchen for silverware, and the big kitchen knives are kind of overcrowding the scene. So I decided that a knife block had to be made. For this build, I am using 10mm boards of white oak. The size of the knife block was determined by the longest knife that I have, with a blade of around 21 centimeters. So I made the depth of my knife block around 20 centimeters, and using the entire length of the board that I had available, the tilt angle of the knife block ended up being 15 degrees. Also, I wanted my knife block to be able to adapt to different kitchen knives in the future, so I decided for the stick design, using skewers. By making some tries with all the knives that I have, the inside surface of the knife block ended up being 8 by 9 centimeters, making sure that everything fits without squeezing. And after marking all the parts, I took everything to the table saw to prepare all the pieces. I figured that simple 45-degree miter joints should be enough for this project because it will never see any weather or forces. And after a test cut, I checked the angle and then cut the joints for all 4 sides of the knife block. After all the work at the table saw was done, I marked where the bottom of the knife block would go. Then I glued small strips of oak into place that will later hold the bottom. And then it was already time to glue everything together. Strips of masking tape make it easy to keep everything aligned during the glue up. It is always good to first check everything without glue to see if it will fit together. Then every joint received a small amount of glue. And thanks to the masking tape, everything could be folded into the shape of a box. And the remaining side was taped up as well. And a good amount of clamps squeezed all the joints close together. And after the glue had dried, the disc sander made quick business out of finishing the top and bottom end. You can see that I left the boards in the front and the back a little bit too long so that I could take them off to perfect length in this step. Then all it needed was a good sanding to finish the outside, first with 120 and then 240 grit. At last, the knife block received a single coat of linseed oil on the outside and the inside. For additional safety of the knife block against falling over, I wanted it to receive a little counterweight in the bottom that I made out of a chunk of steel. So I first cut it to length and then took off the rust of the surface. Then I marked and drilled the screw holes. Then I cleaned the surface so that it could receive some protective lacquer. The surface finish really doesn't have to be perfect, it's just to prevent it from rusting in the future. After everything had dried, it was time to pre-drill the holes for the screws. So the small weight was inserted, making sure that it's clear of the bottom. And then the holes were marked and pre-drilled, making very sure not to come out at the other end. Then the small counterweight could be screwed in place, again making sure that the screws are short enough to not come out at the backside. And then the knife block was finished and could be tried out for the first time. I used shashlik skewers with a diameter of around 3 mm, and it ended up being 855 pieces. I put them in with the sharp side up to make it easier to insert the knives. If you consider making this knife block yourself and you don't like the idea of the pointy ends being up, you can dull them down by taking small groups and knocking them on a hard surface like this. When you fill your knife block with skewers, make sure not to fill the block with as many of them as possible, but only as many as you need so that your smallest kitchen knife holds on its own. This way you can fit in all of your knives without pushing too hard. And there you can see the advantage of the small counterweight. It really takes quite a lot to make the knife block fall over. By the way, you can also take the dull ends of the sticks up, but that can get you into some trouble inserting some knives. But for most knives this should also be okay. Another great advantage of this knife block design is that you can take out all of the sticks if you want to clean them and rub them in a towel to take off the dust. Or change them. And that's it for this video. If you liked the project, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and maybe subscribe to my channel if you want to see more in the future. This is Pilot's Workshop. Thank you for watching.